A holiday at Gaplin's was truly a unique experience, and the founder, George Gaplin, had created a holiday that appealed to the vast majority. It wasn't for everyone, mind. It was regulated and in some ways institutionalised, organised fun. That said, the staff at the holiday camp generally found that holidaymakers weren't really forced into the scheduled activities and that most of them wanted a knockabout, knees-up holiday. One of the activities was an adult pram race. This involved the greencoats pushing willing holidaymakers, who were dressed as babies, in prams. They looked ridiculous. On one occasion, an 82-year-old lady had entered and kept on saying, "Faster, faster," as a particular young greencoat was pushing her. He was going as fast as his legs could carry him, but she kept on saying, "Faster, faster." He soon hit an uneven surface, and the woman was flung from the pram head first. 82 years old. She hit the ground hard. She was out cold. "Oh no," the greencoat thought to himself. "I've done it now." When the woman regained consciousness, he felt the weight of the world lift from his shoulders. She looked up at him as she was coming round, just getting her focus back. In a frail and withered voice she said, "Well, did we win?" Image was everything at Gaplin's, and George Gaplin himself was a perfectionist and a stickler for detail. On one occasion, while visiting the camp, George had undertaken a random check on the dining room. After briskly walking through the huge room, which seated 2,000 people, he said to one of the waiting-on staff, "The tomato sauce bottle at table 82 has a torn label. Change it." Then he swiftly walked out, straight back, eyes focused firmly to the front, yet clocking everything around him with his every stride. He didn't miss a trick. The Gaplin's holiday camps also had their own sewerage works. Basically, a huge septic tank in a nearby field, owned by Gaplin's, sealed in by a tall metal fence. George Gaplin didn't want anyone knowing about them, never mind looking at them. Remember, image was everything. Perish the thought that holidaymakers should know about such a thing. As a precaution, he'd had large signs made for the gates of the sewage works that read, "Beware of the bull." There was no bull. He just didn't want kids climbing over the fence and investigating. The whole bull story was, well, just a load of bull, as he put it behind the scenes to his staff. Just a facade to throw them off the scent. On one occasion during a visit, an elderly lady had met George Gaplin in person. After shaking him by the hand, feeling quite honoured, she'd said, "Mr. Gaplin, you know that bull of yours?" Yes," George replied tentatively. "Well, I've never seen it, but it doesn't half smell." Chapter 3. As Pete and Norman went into the houses that night, both of the mothers asked them if they had any homework, and they both lied, saying no, before heading up to their rooms to change out of the school clothes. They didn't have time for schoolwork. They couldn't think of anything but the band. Norman had a shock that night when he entered his room to find the Beatles' Rubber Soul poster from Danny's room hanging on his wall. Unbeknown to Norman, Danny had brought it round on his way to work as a gift, telling Gladys of how much Norman liked it. Gladys thought it was a nice gesture and hung it on Norman's wall as a surprise for him. He took his Tiesco electric guitar from its case so he could practice a little before tea. That guitar was his pride and joy. With its tobacco sunburst finish and black scratch plate, Norman loved it and spent most of his time playing it. Having outgrown his gut-strung classical guitar purchased from a jumble sale, Fred had bought the Tiesco for Norman second-hand from a work colleague, and with money he couldn't really afford to spend. Norman was grateful, and realised that it had been a lot of money for his dad. As Norman practised that night, he occasionally glanced over at the Beatles poster, dreaming of how he wanted to be just like them, out there, somewhere in the world, playing music. To Norman, anything was possible, and nothing could stand in his way. Music was like the key to the universe, And with the naivety of youth on his side, he subconsciously believed that all of this was to have a happy ending. But, like all dreamers, one day he would have to wake up.